So we're closing in on 7 o'clock. So I'll make introductions. We have with us tonight from Perry and Shasburg United Methodist Church, Pastor Ray, who has come to speak an invocation for us. Pastor?
Let us pray. Creator God, we give you thanks for the gift of life and for today and for this evening. Thank you for caring for your creation. And as this council continues looking forward to visioning, planning, and making decisions, help this council continue using your wisdom, your intelligence, that those decisions may consider a balance among your creation, that they may bring goodness to everything that surrounds us, the environment, the animals, and the people, the inhabitants of this town and the county, and all the areas that will be affected by the decisions that you put in our minds and in our hearts, and the minds and the hearts of this council, to consider your creation and the goodness of everything that will be affected by those decisions, and that the town and the people and the leaders be good stewards of everything that you have given us. We give you thanks in Christ's name. Amen.
Pastor, thank you for your service.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great evening.
Thank you. Time is now 7:02 p.m. and I will call to order this regular meeting of the Perry City Council for August 20th. Everyone would please rise.
You got me on board?
Yes, we got you, Terry.
Yes, Terry.
We're going to say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it
for which it
stands,
stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Devin, would you please call the roll?
Genevieve Petrell. Here. Craig Elliott.
Here.
Mindy Galbavy. Here. Adam Graff.
Here.
Christopher Powell.
Here.
Terry Wood. Can you hear me,
Here.
Terry? Okay. Mayor James Huglet.
Here.
All is accounted for tonight.
I find we have a quorum present to conduct business. First item of business is the approval of the agenda. The clerk and I have prepared the agenda and I believe it has all matters that need to come before you for your attention tonight, and I submit it to you for your approval or your amendment.
I move that the agenda be adopted as printed. Second.
Moved by Galvin, second by Cottrell, that the agenda be adopted as printed. Is there discussion on the agenda? Hearing none. I'll call the roll. Mayor Pro Tem Cottrell.
Yes.
Councilman Elliott.
Yes.
Councilwoman Galvin.
Yes.
Councilman Grass.
Yes.
Councilman Powell.
Yes.
Councilman Wood.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously. We will move to reading and approval of the minutes of the previous meeting. Devin, would you please read the minutes of the July 16th regular city council meeting?
I move that we suspend the rules, waive the readings, and approve the minutes from the July 16, 2020 regular meeting.
Second.
Moved by Powell, seconded by Cottrell. that we suspend the rules, waive the reading, and approve the minutes from the July 16th, 2020 regular meeting as presented. There being a motion to suspend the rules, is there an objection from a council member? Any comments or discussion regarding the minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor, oh, no, can't do that, I'm sorry. Councilman Elliott,
Yes.
Councilwoman Galbavy,
Yes.
Councilman Grass,
Yes.
Councilman Powell,
Yes.
Councilman Wood,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Cottrell.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously. We will now move to pre-approved reports and presentations. We don't have any of those for us tonight. So from there, we will go to our first session of public comment. It is at this time and at the end of our meetings, under any other business may come before council, that we open the floor for members of the public to address the council on any matter. There's a 3-minute time limit per person on each section of public comment. Would anyone from the public present in the room like to address council at this time? Would anyone joining us on Zoom like to address council at this time?
No hands.
Okay, we will therefore move to communications. Devin, do you have any communications for council tonight?
No, not tonight.
That'll move us to mayor reports. I do have a little information to share with city council. I had a meeting earlier this week with the township supervisor, the township treasurer, and Justin Horvath from the Shiawassee Economic Development Partnership. The township approached us regarding a potential project. SEDP has identified a set of grants. They're brand new federal grants that are working differently than they have in the past. The grants aren't brand new, but the way they're working is different. The grants would pay 90% of the cost for infrastructure improvement. The township approached us regarding the loop running down Lansing Road out to Bennett Drive, back up Britton Road, and connecting them with the school. We had talked about this about 6 years ago when Sid Grinnell was supervisor out there in Perry Township, but we had been unable to find the money to accomplish that goal. With a 90% grant, the township wanted to approach the city about doing that, and the township was prepared to make a commitment to pay the 10% local match, and had identified an engineer to help us prepare the grant application. We have another matter that we have to be concerned about, and I shared this with the township. We have several subdivisions in this town that are in development, and we have committed to provide water to those subdivisions. We also have vacant space up on Lansing Road that we've committed to provide water to. And our concern is that once all the commitments are fulfilled, we will not have sufficient capacity to provide for the loop that we're discussing. But with these grants available, and we discussed it with the township, and the township is willing to have part of this grant application be to seek a grant to develop the new well field. Now, this was something that I had anticipated being something that will reach far into the future, and if we can get a grant to develop the well field, this city council and I will have to come up with the necessary 10% match. That may be something that we have to really put some work in, but in my estimation, we are unlikely to have an opportunity for the city of Perry ever in the future to get a brand new well field at 10% of the actual cost. So for that reason, I expressed my agreement, and the township is having a discussion with their engineer. Their engineer will communicate with our DPW superintendent, John, and provide us with the cost of his service. His service is necessary to estimate what that cost will be, so we can make a decision if the 10% is a realistic possibility, something that we can come up with. And the township has to make the same decision for its 10% that it would have to come up with. That will take a little bit of funding to pay the engineer. I don't have that number yet, but as soon as I get it, I'll bring that proposal here to City Council along with the numbers. Assuming that the cost is going to be within a range that we can realistically commit to coming up with the 10%, I'm going to ask council to authorize the project so that we can move it forward. It would be a tremendous benefit to the city and the township together and to our water system as a whole if at the cost of 10% in cooperation with the township, we could get this additional loop, and I hope that will help improve water up in that quarter of the city by looping the water system around better, and lead to us developing the new well field that we're going to need somewhere down the road. So I'll have more reports for council as we work on this, but that's the project I'm working on right now. I've taken one other step, which I think will look a little unusual, but I think wisdom argues for it. There is no way that this project will be done before I leave office. And since Sue Hammond is running unopposed for mayor, I've invited her to be part of the conversations, and I intend to keep her in the loop through this entire process. My goal in doing that is that when December 1 comes and she takes over this job, she already has the background of what we worked on, and she's ready to move this thing forward. That's my report to council. Any questions or discussions?
I have a question.
Yes.
So the building of the loop and the well field, will those be combined as one project or will they be separate projects?
They'll probably be separate projects.
So the township would do the 10% for the loop and we would do the 10% for the well field?
The township is committed to do the 10% for the loop, and we would have to come up with the 10% for the new well field.
So we'd be working together and each would do that piece. Okay, that's great. That's really exciting. It's really exciting.
We're hoping that the interlocal cooperation between the two units will help us to get a grant award if we make the application. This is going to move very quick. The application is going to have to be in by sometime in the middle of October to the middle of November. So we're going to try to move this along very quickly. If I get under a crunch for time, I may be calling you all looking for your availability to try to pull together a special meeting if I need to keep things moving forward.
That's excellent news. Yeah, that's exciting.
I think it'd be a good benefit for all of us. Other questions or comments? Okay, that completes my report for tonight. We'll move to committee reports. Mindy and I have a report from our work group regarding post-employment retirement benefits, but do any other council members want to give a committee report first? Seeing no hands, I assume that there's just for Mindy and I to report tonight. Mindy and I submitted a written report. It came with your packet for last council meeting. Did everybody get a chance to review it?
I did.
Fair enough. I know I have a copy of it here somewhere. As members will recall, Mindy and I formed a work group to consider the ongoing cost of post-retirement health insurance benefits. We had a meeting with key city employees. All city employees were invited, and several of the employees chose to participate. And Mindy and I believe that we have come up with a rational solution that we're going to recommend to council. We have part of it coming before you for action tonight, and more to come in the future. I'll read it in whole. In making our recommendation, we sought to address first the problem of future liabilities created by our longstanding and out-of-date post-retirement health care benefits program, which remain in place in City of Perry policy. We are deeply concerned for the sacrifices that will be required to pay for the current post-retirement health benefits plan for the taxpayers of the City of Perry. most of whom receive no post-retirement health care benefits beyond Medicare, which will remain available to retired employees of the city of Perry after our recommendations are implemented. For the purpose of preserving the city's future capacity to provide needed services to the city's taxpayers, this city council must take reasonable steps to control and fund those future liabilities. We are also cognizant of the long and loyal service of numerous current city employees, many of whom have planned their future with these promised benefits in place and are left without adequate time to adjust their choices in life to account for a deprivation of those benefits. Therefore, we recommend the City Council seek all needed legal advice to properly make the following changes to the policies related to post-retirement health care benefits for city employees, which we believe represents a reasonable step to address the concerns listed above. Number one, the policy be amended to provide that all city employees who have reached at least 15 years of service as of the date of the adoption of the new policy be provided with post-retirement health care benefits as exist under the current policy. That is, that they can get 3 years, start at 15 years of service, if they get to the age of 62, and if they have 25 years of service, they can get post-retirement benefits at any age until they reach the age of 65, and that there is a longevity that is paid out on an annual basis after reaching age 65 to help the employee obtain supplemental to go along with their Medicare. That policy be amended to provide that all city employees with less than 15 years of service at the date of adoption of the new policy receive post-retirement health care benefits adjusted as follows. A, for 15 years of total service, post-retirement health benefits as provided under the old policy shall be available for no more than 3 years and commencing no sooner than the employee's 62nd birthday. B, for 25 years total service, post-retirement health benefits as provided under the old policy shall be available for no more than 5 years and commencing no sooner than the employee's 60th birthday. Letter C, post-age 65 longevity benefits as exist under the old policy provided to both of these classes. D, that all such benefits must be claimed at the date of retirement. Number 3, the policy be amended to provide that all city employees hired after the date of adoption will be provided no post-retirement health benefits. 4, that the City Council establish a plan to lock away for the payment of future post-retirement health benefits the amount plus interest put into a savings account in 2011 by Mayor DeLue and the City Council of 2011. That's close to $130,000 saved right now, but not locked away for health care. That City Council direct and fund an independent actuarial study to determine what amount of additional annual savings will be needed to be added to the post-retirement health benefits account in terms of what percentage of annual payroll to establish the funding necessary to pay for future liabilities under this new policy. What we're saying is we'd like an actuarial study so we have a number in forming the budget every year on what we need to put away to deal with the unfunded liability. 6, that the City Council require by policy the necessary funding determined in the independent actuarial study and future independent actuarial studies must be funded annually in the mayor's budget proposal when it is submitted to council. So I'm asking for a mandate that it be included in every budget. 7, that in establishing this plan to fund future post-retirement health benefits, City Council direct that all current obligations for such must be paid from this fund. So I want to establish the fund. We have current retired employees getting this benefit. I want to transfer that obligation to the fund we're establishing, the dedicated fund, rather than pull the money out of the current budget of each year. 8, that Perry City Council direct that when future post-retirement health care benefits are determined to be zero by an independent actuarial study, any unused funds in the plan established as part of these recommendations shall revert to the City Council General Fund. So when this will close out one day in the future, and when it does, if we put too much in the fund, then we want the City General Fund to get it back. And Mindy and I have recommended that our work group remain in place to pursue possible recommendations for alternative employee benefit plans that might provide an alternative savings vehicle opportunities, future city employees in planning for their own retirement. The policy change regarding post-retirement benefits is before you tonight. We will still have to bring you the necessary motions to establish the fund, to obtain the actuarial study, and motions to create policy requiring that be handled every year in the budget. So that's where we're at tonight regarding this matter. Mindy, did you have anything you wanted to add?
That covered it.
Does council have any questions for us? Okay. We'll head on to the rest of the agenda. So that'll finish committee reports, and we'll move to presentation and approval of the bills. Bills have been reviewed by council, and we seek your permission to pay them.
I move that we approve the bills as presented and that payment be authorized.
Second?
Who was that?
Me.
Motion by Grass, seconded by Galbavy, that the bills be as presented and payment be authorized. Is there discussion on the bills? Hearing none, I'll call the roll. Councilwoman Galbavy,
Yes.
Councilman Grass,
Yes.
Councilman Powell,
Yes.
Councilman Wood.
Did you get me?
There, Terry?
There he
I hear
is.
you.
Shaky.
What's your vote, Terry? Is he muted?
I just asked him to unmute.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, Terry.
Yes, Terry, what's your
Just
vote?
need an answer.
That was a yes.
Thank
It
you.
keeps cutting out for some reason.
This machinery will do that to us. We got a beautiful seat over here in the corner. Show them, Alex.
How many
Lots of
live
space-
people are there?
Lots of space from everybody. If you'd like to come here and join us, we'd be glad to have you.
Mayor, he would like to see who's here.
I'm sorry?
Hi, buddy.
Mayor Pro Tem Cottrell,
Yes.
Councilman Elliott.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries unanimously. That will take us to old business. Our next item of old business is discussion about becoming a Second Amendment sanctuary city. Terry, this was your baby.
Yeah. Can we leave that on hold yet until I can get us all there together?
Terry's
How
asked
many's
for this to
there?
be left, no action taken. Is that agreeable to
Mr. Mayor, how
council?
many's
Yep.
there? Mr. Mayor?
Wood?
How many
You want
people are
Four
there?
of us. You and Councilman
Council-wide.
Elliott are on Zoom.
4?
Yes.
Maybe I'll make the next meeting in person. We'll see.
I'd love to see you here. I think we've set it up so you can safely do that.
Okay, we'll see.
Yep. Okay, I haven't heard any objection to leaving this as no action taken. Our next item is discuss possible amendment to council rules and procedures. Councilman Wood, this was your baby. What would you like to do?
I think he's bouncing off the internet again.
We're not hearing you, Terry. Yes.
Oh, I just bounced off totally.
I say we take no action taken and the four of us vote on it.
That's fine, yeah.
Nobody else has said too much. Yes, can you hear me, Terry? Terry?
What the heck? This is baloney. I don't like this stuff.
Our whole Zoom for city just bounced off. We're back in.
I'm losing
I
you.
think
You're
we
not
had a
there.
technical issue. Can you hear me now?
Now I can hear you.
Very good. Terry, I had introduced the next item of old business.
I lost you.
Hear me now?
I can hear
Okay, I had
you now.
introduced the next item of old business, discussion, possible amendment to council rules of procedure. This is your baby. What would you like to do with it, Terry?
Okay. That ain't my baby. I
thought
didn't
you
bring
asked
it
for
on.
this to be on the agenda.
I think it was Councilman Wood and myself.
Yeah. I support it being on there, but I didn't bring it up.
Yeah, we'll deal with it when you're here, Terry.
Okay,
The request is to
that
leave it,
sounds
no
good.
action taken. Is that okay with council?
Please.
I see no objection, so we'll leave it, no action taken. Our next item of old business is a possible resolution to adopt water and sewer rates. This is approval of the ordinance that was, no, wait a minute. Oh, I'm sorry. John, do we have that?
I hope to have it the 1st of September. If not, then we'll take it off until we get it squared away.
Okay. Just as a refresher to council, I'll remind you that I received a report from Rural Development late in the spring advising the city that our water fund had dropped out of compliance with its bond covenants. That when I asked what resolution was necessary, they advised me that the city needed to obtain a rate study and adopt the recommended rates, and that would cure our non-compliance in the water fund with bond covenants. Michigan Rural Development provides that service for free, and so at my request, John reached out and did the work with them and is now waiting for Michigan Rural Development to provide the recommended rates. I think the COVID crisis has created a bottleneck on their end, and so once we get those rates, we want to bring them before you guys. So for that reason, I'm going to ask that this be left on the agenda as no action taken. Is there any objection from council to doing that?
No.
Okay, so all three items of old business hang in there for us for various reasons. We'll now move to new business. Possible approval of sanitary sewer rehabilitation. John, did you want to speak to this?
Yes, I can. You should have a proposal in front of you from Granite Interliner. We have used this company in the past. We've actually been putting this in the budget to be done for probably 5 years. So I'm bringing it forward now. We've had some work done in the past from this company. Coincidentally, the company that put in our water treatment plant has been bought by Granite, and so things are consolidating in various ways. What this is going to do is add roughly 50 to 100 years for a gravity main that goes under the railroad tracks and heads to Bath Road. There's going to be some laterals cut out. They do everything. I broke it down. There'll be actually 5 pipe relinings, and it's this gravity here takes probably 60 to 70% of the city's sewage waste and takes it to the main lift station. So, it's down buried about 20, 24 feet in the ground. I feel it's a good thing to do, get it, at least that part, and then we'll move forward with other stuff. So I'm asking for approval of the pipe relining, sanitary sewer, and the gravity main of $68,921.25.
Does council have any questions for our DPW superintendent?
None.
How often does that have to be done?
It should, 50 to 100 years it'll be good for. That's,
Yeah.
I don't know how long all of it's been in. There's like 1 or 2 companies doing this. And, they're relining water mains and sewers, both.
So this acts as good preventive maintenance, as an insurance
Yes.
that, to
Yeah,
prevent that from decaying any further.
Right.
Probably if we do that now, we know in our lifetime
it's
that that's
gonna
going to
be,
be.
yeah,
Okay, great.
it's a fixed asset that the city will have in the long-term future. You know, rather, because it is clay pipe. When we get down further towards Bath Road, if everybody knows, it's kind of swampy on the other side. And it's deep enough, we hit water sand, so any type of infiltration or anything like that, this is gonna stop that. And so,
Any other questions for our DPW superintendent?
It's a great maintenance thing, so it's time to do it. And, I'm sorry, John, you budgeted this, right?
yeah, this is in the new budget
Okay,
for, capital improvements, I believe is what I put under.
I move that we accept the proposal by Granite Inliner for amount not to exceed $68,921.25 for sanitary sewer rehabilitation.
second,
Moved by Grass, seconded by Powell, that we accept the proposal by Granite Inliner for an amount not to exceed $68,921.25 for sanitary sewer rehabilitation. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. Councilman Grass,
Yes.
Councilman Powell,
yes.
Councilman Wood,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Cottrell,
Yes.
Councilman Elliott,
Yes.
Councilwoman Galbavy.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, John. The next item on our agenda is the possible adoption of amended trash ordinance number 340. This is the final approval of the ordinance that had first reading at our last meeting in May. So I'll open the floor up for council for motions, discussions, questions, whatever council's pleasure is.
What is the trash or I'm trying to find that literature here.
It would have been in your May packet.
Oh, in my May. Okay, I haven't got that far back sitting here. Give me a brief, disclosure of it.
John, Terry's asking for a brief disclosure on this ordinance. I think you reported to us originally. Do you want to report again?
So I assume that he's asking if we're gonna ask for rates for brush pickup and, leaf and, lawn clippings. And this gives us the provisions to put that in.
Yes, this was part of our budget discussions and part of our effort to fund the motor pool fund to begin replacing DPW's equipment used to pick up yard waste. Right now, we've cut services back and we would like to get the equipment maintained so that we don't have further cutbacks in the future. And ultimately would like to fund the motor pool sufficient to replace the equipment and perhaps in time restore full service.
I would like to tell you what. You there?
Go ahead, Devin.
I would like to put this on hold till the next meeting. I will be at the next meeting in person.
Terry, can I add, when you do find the material, that this ordinance is not establishing a fee, it's just allowing a possible fee to be established.
Yes, council would still have to establish fees.
Yeah, I know, but I have some thoughts on this, and while I was moving around here, I have found it, but I would like to go back through it a little bit, and I have some concerns.
What's council's pleasure?
I'd like to make a motion that we adopt the amended trash ordinance number 340 as presented.
I'll second.
Moved by Cottrell, seconded by Galbavy, that ordinance number 340, which allows fees to be established by council for yard waste and which was read at the July 16th council meeting be adopted. Is there any discussion on this motion?
Yes, I wanted to put it on hold for till next meeting.
Yes, I understand. I have a motion and a
can't do
second
that?
before us. Any other discussion? I'll call the roll. Councilman Powell,
Yes.
Councilman Wood,
No.
Mayor Pro Tem Petro,
Yes.
Councilman Elliott,
Yes.
Councilwoman Galbavy,
Yes.
Councilman Grass.
Yes.
The vote is 5-1. The motion passes. Thank you, council.
I
will
think,
move-
just,
Go ahead.
you got a minute? I think we just took, but I'll know more next meeting.
Okay, and there'll be another step in this, Terry.
Okay.
Okay. So we move to the next item of new business, possible approval of revisions to the personnel policy. These are in your pre-printed motion. This will adopt the change in policy regarding what post-retirement benefits we offer. So having reported on it earlier, I'll open the floor up for questions, discussions, and motions by council.
I move that
For
we
council's-
approve the following
For council's
revisions.
information, you don't have to read the policy amendments in their entirety to move their approval. It's
Elliot
not like
is,
an ordinance.
Elliot is talking right now.
Craig?
I move that we approve the following revisions to the personnel policy for the City of Perry employees, except for those covered by a master contract which is negotiated with a recognized union or labor group, and with the understanding that this policy will be effective
Today.
I assume
Today.
tonight's date.
Yep. So, August 20th, 2020.
Councilman Elliott has made a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved by Elliott, seconded by Cottrell, that we approve the following revisions to the personnel policy for the City of Perry employees, except for those covered by a master contract, which is negotiated with a recognized union or labor group, and with the understanding that the policy will be effective August 20, 2020. Is there discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I will call the roll. Councilman Wood,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Petro,
Yes.
Councilman Elliott,
Yes.
Councilwoman Galbavy,
Yes.
Councilman Grass,
Yes.
Councilman Powell.
Yes.
Thank you, council. That will take us to our final item of new business, possible approval to update the zoning map. Devin, did you have a report for council on this?
Yes. COVID has slowed me down, and then prior to that, this has been on process. There's been several things that we've noticed on our zoning, map that needs to be updated. Planning Commission, this isn't that we are rezoning, it's not going through the city or anything like this. One of the things that happens is when Planning Commission does do a rezoning, I use these maps to do my 300 feet, and a lot of times I find corrections of human error of wrong address, missing information. And then another thing we ran into on our situation down on South M52, I learned of some issues that our zoning was not, the boundaries on the map were not correct. And then we had the census always gets a hold of us before they go to the public and checking our addresses, and we found several other things. We only found one mistake, a human mistake by the company that made this, and I've made note of that too to be changed. So Giffords and Webster is the one that created it. They used Row, our maps originally to create this one, and Row does our tax maps. And as Giffords was trying to use their maps with the boundary changes, land splits and everything that have been corrected on that map, they found that they still didn't match up. So Giffords and Webster asked me to go to the county and see if we could use their maps. It would be a lot cheaper for us to do that. County has agreed. They have cut us a deal on the fee to use it. And so I'm here in front of you to ask for the zoning map to get updated, which means also physical copies. It's 1,400, as you can see, the engineering part of it, or the computer part of it, and I'm asking them to actually come in for an appointment. This is something that I want to physically talk to somebody and see what we're doing. Just to email this to somebody and say, get everything corrected, I don't want to. So with a lot of time and a lot of people involved, I'm asking you guys to approve a 1,400. It's in the budget, but it wasn't an official budget line item. So we have money in the zoning to be able to properly get this done. Is there any questions with the zoning map? Yes.
Councilman Powell.
With the, what if we need to make changes in 6 months to a year? Does the zoning committee have any ideas that we may have projects coming up that would have to be on the map?
That always happens, Chris, and if we did that, our maps would never be updated.
Okay.
So, like, for example, there's a rezoning that's on the table right now, public hearings being set. So with me knowing that, even with you guys approving it tonight, they have plenty to work on, and I will inform them that please hold off, that I know that there'll be a good chance there's a rezoning coming in. Otherwise, what we do, Chris, is we actually document on the map as a rezoning comes through. And then when there's enough reasonable changes, because this isn't a decent expense, this is not a cheap thing to do. If there's enough to make a new progress, then we go ahead with another update. So, I mean, if council wants it on a regular basis, that's fine, but these maps aren't cheap to redo and to copy of it. So that's been our history of taking care of our maps. So we've got enough changes to get a whole job done.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
The map that's downstairs in council chambers, the big one that's on the wall, will that be updated as well? Will we get a new copy of the big map?
So this is the one that the zoning map that everybody is familiar with. And so we get, I think, approximately 10 copies whenever we get a new one done. So that there's one in council chambers, there's one in city hall. Our zoning administrator likes one, our Department of Public Works likes one, our police department. They all have a reason that they also use it. So yes, to that.
Excellent, thank you.
So it gets distributed very evenly to all the parties.
Thank you very much. We do refer to that quite a bit during. the
Yeah,
meeting.
it is a nice
Very
map.
helpful. Yeah. Yes, thank you for doing all of that research on behalf of the planning commission and the city council. Thank you.
You're welcome. Steve Schweikert was a big help. We didn't realize, and Steve and I are trying to find a different format. So a lot of the splits or the combining of them are not getting hit on the map. So that was another big thing that you're gonna see boundaries change. Not the zoning, but your boundaries will change. Like I said, the biggest one you'll notice is the circumstance where we ran in down south M52. That's a whole different boundary than what's showing on the map.
So we need a motion?
Yes, please.
Is this the first update since the original?
Since 2016, when we originated it, yes.
First time.
Let's see, I move that we approve to update the zoning map for a cost of $1,400.
Second.
Is that you, Adam?
Yeah.
Moved by Cottrell, seconded by Grass, that we authorize payment to Giffords and Webster for an amount not to exceed $1,400 to create an updated zoning map. Is there discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the roll. Mayor Pro Tem Cottrell.
Yes.
Councilman Elliott.
Yes.
Councilwoman Galbady.
Yes.
Councilman Grass.
Yes.
Councilman Powell.
Yes.
Councilman Wood.
Yes.
That concludes our new business. We are now to any other business may come before council at this time. This is our second opportunity for public comment. Would any members of the public present in the room with us like to address council at this time? Seeing no hands, would anyone with us on Zoom like to address council at this time?
I have some. I do.
Is that you, Terry? Let's get through public
Yes.
comment and then there'll be an opportunity.
I have.
Kevin, is there anyone from the public that wants to
Okay.
address council? So now I'll ask council if you have any other items of business that you'd like to bring up tonight. Councilman Wood.
Is requesting $11,000 for the foundation upgrade. It's a necessity, and I would like to put that on the agenda for the next council meeting. And I'd like everybody to look at the packet as to what they've done, what they've spent, and the free money they've gotten, so that we can kind of smartly next time, okay?
You submitted that packet to the clerk?
Terry, do you have the packet
The,
that I can share
the
that?
Queen packet?
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't you get mine?
Okay, remind us when we get to agenda items for the next meeting.
Is that good? Hello?
Hello?
Yeah.
You there, Terry?
Okay.
I can hear you,
Can you
yes.
hear me? Can you hear me? Okay, I'll have it I'll have this packet together for you, and I'll have it in their boxes by next Monday, by this coming
Okay,
Monday.
and then remind us when we get to agenda items for the next meeting. Are there any other items of business the council would like to bring up for action tonight? Seeing none, that'll move us to council discussion and observation. Councilwoman Galvin. Councilman Elliott.
No.
Councilman Grass.
Yeah, as I've watched around, everybody's been aware of things going on in our country at the moment. I'm thankful to live in a smaller town where we don't have some of the insanity that's going on in some of our mega cities. At the same time, I want to say that I appreciate our police force. I've gotten to know several police officers here in town, and I appreciate them and want them to know as a council member I stand behind them, even though we are obviously not going through things like major cities. But as long as I'm in this seat, I'll support the police officers, and I appreciate the police force.
Thank you. Councilman Powell.
I'm good, thank you very much.
Councilman Wood. Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Cottrell.
First, I want to say thank you to Councilperson Galbary and to you, Mayor, for doing the hard work on the post-retirement benefits. Thank you very much. I know that was long-standing and you guys really tackled something that was tough. So thank you very much on behalf of the council for that work that you did. And just want to express my excitement again for this possibility to close the loop and build a well field. I hope that's something that moves forward, so that's very exciting for us. So thank you.
Thank you. I'll say on the well field, I think it's worth pursuing. It's a very small cost with a tremendous potential benefit to our community as a whole, and an excellent opportunity for the township and the city to work together, which many years in the past had been a struggle. The relationship that we've built with them over the last several years, I think has been a great positive, And I would just share with you, I have a great deal of admiration for Perry Township Supervisor Mark Fox. He has been a good fellow citizen. I have enjoyed talking with him. He's frank, he's honest with me, and he and I can have very productive conversations. And unlike mayors and supervisors in the past, he's willing to do parades with me. Once parades come back, I hope the mayor of Perry and the supervisor of Perry Township will continue to do parades together. I think it sets the kind of example that we want to set for our community.
We needed the water towers anyways, isn't that correct? We don't know how long our current tower is gonna last. Is it the same area? Whichever way it is, that way?
Nothing's final. Nothing's final at this time, but at this point in time, my expectation is that this plan will not include a new water tower. Our DPW superintendent has some ideas of alternative forms of technology that will allow us to achieve the same results in pressure up there at a lower cost to both obtain and to maintain. And so he's gonna work with the engineers to try to make that project work out best for the city, because the extension will belong to the city and it'll be our responsibility to maintain it. So my hope is that we don't get a second water tower out of this.
It's probably an inconvenient time to mention this, but, John, is there any impact on that on the wastewater side of things? I mean, if you're processing more water on the clean side, you're gonna obviously process it on the back side.
There's no plans for a sewer extension from my understanding in discussions that we've had.
Okay.
Perry Township's DDA has partnered with the village of Morris to gain sewer service out of Bennett Drive. So the taxing effect that you're talking about would be on the village of Morris and Perry Township DDA combined sewer project. They share maintenance costs on that. And so the township is aware of this, and before we get to the point of moving forward, the supervisor and I have agreed that there would be discussions with the village of Morris
Good.
regarding what we're working on. Our expectation is that the additional water into that sewer system is not going to be that high. The primary benefit of having water out there is to provide sprinkler systems so that buildings can get big enough to, they can get bigger when they get to the point where they have to have a sprinkler system, which doesn't cause a lot of additional water. And I believe at the meeting they said, didn't they say that sewer system is operating at about 10%?
Well, their station on Bath and Bennett Drive,
Is that
or
10%?
not Bath, Britton and Bennett. But I don't know what the condition of their lagoons are in.
But I'm sure the township is paying close attention to that, as they have an agreement with Morris that commits the township to the cost of improving or repairing that sewer system. So township would certainly look out for its own budget situation and villages. But we'll still have conversations with them if we get to a point where we decide that we can go forward with this, and if we can get the grant money. Because if the price when it comes out is too high, that'll put an end to the whole thing. Or if we fail to obtain the grants, then the whole thing comes to a stop. So it's kind of a chicken and the egg dilemma. At what point do you go and you start talking to everybody about what to do? How far ahead of time will we know everything? If that helps, Chris?
It does.
Wonderful. Anything else from council? Questions? So we're on to items for next agenda. We have discussion about becoming a Second Amendment sanctuary city, discussion possible amendment to council rules of procedure, possible resolution to adopt water and sewer rates, Terry's request for the McQueen House, which he'll deliver the packet for. Are there other items for the next agenda? If anything comes to council's attention between now and the next meeting, please communicate that with the clerk. And between her and I, we will make sure that all necessary items are on your agenda for action next meeting. Yes, Mr. Powell?
Who's judging this month for the, that's for
I don't know.
Devin,
Nobody's
do
done
you?
it so far this year.
On my desk, we can walk right down, but I don't know it by heart. Okay.
I'm taking the elevator, honey, so.
That's all right. I'll
All right.
text you.
Cool, just tomorrow's fine, or whenever you can.
I can text it tonight real quick. See
Okay.
if it's there.
Cool, thank you.
That gets us to the end of our agenda. Council prepared to adjourn. The time is now 7:56 PM, and we are adjourned. Thank you very much, everybody, for your participation and your work.
Good to see you.